Hello, for my community project I approached a Montessori school to ask if they had a problem and required a solution. The class teacher that I had the meeting with was Mr. Chris James. He is a Year 6 teacher, and he expressed that he had concern that students were struggling with understanding and remembering the conversions for measurement. So despite doing that earlier this year and the last 2 years, they were still having difficulty remembering. So Mr. James asked me if I could devise a creative way to assist students in learning the measurement conversions. He requested that I make a learning tool that would be fun, engaging and educative. This learning tool would become part of the school maths resource collection and provide a strong platform for consolidating and mastering skills in measurement conversions. The requirements were for the tool to be bright, colourful, easy to store, simple to use, engaging, educative, fun and challenging. The teachers at the school also expressed interest in the product, so they asked for the product to be versatile for all year levels because they wanted to use it throughout the school from year 3 through to year 6, and with the year 6 students it would be extension right up to year 8 level. So, which added to the design brief that it needed to be incredibly versatile. I took this, and the solution to this was the creation of a product which is the multi-purpose mathematic learning tool for measurement. So this assists students in learning the conversions of measurements between kilometres, metres, centimetres and millimetres. The tool is so effective that I then upgraded it to also include the conversions between kilograms, grams, millilitres and litres. The product can be used as a teaching resource to support teaching of conversions, or it can be used as a standalone board game with 2 different games that can be played with the board, with game instruction cards included in the set. The product can be adapted to cater for all ability levels and comes with a teacher resource pack of worksheets targeting foundational levels through to advanced levels. Now, this is the product. This is the storage box. So all of the pieces go neatly into the storage box. All of these pieces are removable, and then it is just a base board. There are, for the game, there are figurines where 4 students will play at a time. They'll roll a colour-coded die and act upon the instructions according to the colour that they roll. So how this works is, for maximum learning to occur with using this activity, I have designed all of these signs to be magnetic backed behind so that they can be removable, so that students are responsible for the positions. So that helps them learn the order of the measurements, and it also helps them, these treasure chests that they encounter. So someone will roll, they'll get a card, the arrows show them which way to travel, the corresponding arrows. These are all one-way roads. As you're travelling along this one-way road, you open a magic potion, and the instruction is inside. So, for example, a student might be at Meter Town. They turn over a card. They have 4.3 metres, and they are required to turn it into centimetres. They follow the corresponding arrow to show them which direction to travel. On that journey, they open the magical treasure chest, and there's a potion inside that tells them to times by 100. So they have gone from 4.3 metres and times by 100 to make them 430 centimetres, which means that when they've arrived at Centimetre City, they are now 430 centimetres, and they'll write that down. To assist with their calculations, we have a blackboard with coloured chalk for students to write down their thinking. Then on the bottom, the return trip is the division. So from millimetres to convert to centimetres, the magic potion tells them to divide by 10, divide by 100, and then divide by 1000. So the production process. As much as possible, this product is made from recycled materials. That presented a little bit of a challenge at times with defects in the materials, but was avoided by just careful use of Stanley knives to trim off unwanted areas. So The first dilemma, so these treasure chests are made of coasters, cheap coasters from Bunnings, and the hinge, because the hinges were all very expensive, so I decided to use recycled plastic dividers from Folders, and glue that onto both sides. Now the issue that I was having was that it wasn't sitting perfectly like this when it would close. It was quite wonky and unstable. So to remedy that issue, I scored slightly using the Stanley knife, the crease, and then it closed perfectly. Now, my original design included Velcro connectors underneath. However, I then decided that magnets were much easier for children, especially if they were young children, and it just makes it a lot easier to use. So the problem when I was working on this was that this section down here, because it is a recycled piece of matte cardboard from a framing shed, which I've revamped, it does have a slight kink down the bottom here, which meant that the magnetic bases were tumbling right off and they weren't balancing and sitting perfectly like they do at the top. So what I have done on the bottom to fix that issue was I've made the bottom 3 rows all Velcro straps under there. Another issue was that there are a lot of little cards here. There's even more in the box. It's a colour-coded set with stars that indicate the different challenge levels. So and then in the box we also have the grams and kilogram options for modification of the activity. So an issue when making these cards was that they were very tiny and very difficult to keep in position when laminating so many. So to overcome that issue, I put a minute amount of blue tack in the back, which you can't even see, just enough to hold it into position while laminating. Another issue that I encountered was the glue. Sometimes the glue wasn't holding, so to remedy this I used a stack of enormously heavy books and stacked them on top for an overnight period, and then they were good to go the next day. Another issue, there was one more issue. Oh, in considering the design brief, I took into account safety considerations. I wanted to make an activity that was very safe, and affordability and ease with materials. So this activity hit all of those criteria. And is there anything else I'd like to share? I think that's everything. Thank you for listening.